The McBee Dynasty. Real American Cowboys star Stephen McBee Jr. has opened up about his father, Steve McBee Sr., sharing an encouraging update about his mindset as their family enters a challenging new chapter. Only a day after the hit Bravo series was officially renewed for Season 3, the McBee family found themselves navigating emotional, personal changes surrounding Steve Sr.'s circumstances. While official documents outlined the formal decisions made by the court, the family shifted their attention toward unity, healing, and staying focused on the future. A difficult moment for the family. According to the publicly available information, Steve Sr. received a 2-year term away from home, followed by a period of monitored reintegration. Financial penalties were also included as part of the court's directive. While the official paperwork described issues related to crop reporting from years prior, the family chose not to dwell on the past. Instead, they emphasized strength, accountability, and the bonds that hold them together. Government materials described discrepancies in past agricultural reports, listing large quantities of corn and soybeans that had been misrepresented in submissions. These reports noted that the misstatements resulted in payments that later needed to be corrected, leading to the financial sum assigned to Steve Sr. as reimbursement. Though the situation became a national headline, inside the McBee household, the focus turned inward toward family, responsibility, and support. The McBee brothers unite. Following the court's decision, messages of love poured in from Steve Sr.'s sons. Stephen Jr. reshared a past Father's Day tribute on Instagram, writing, "Love ya, Dad. The whole family is here for you." Cole McBee echoed the sentiment with a heartfelt message over a family photo. "We will get through anything together. You've always carried us. Now it's our turn to show up for you." Before the court date, Stephen Jr. sat down for an interview with The Daily Dish, where he spoke honestly about their emotional state. He didn't hide that the family had been overwhelmed at times. "We were scared, and we were nervous," he admitted. "We love him so much, and thinking about him being away from us, that was hard." Still, he made it clear that the McBees are built on loyalty. "We're focusing on the positive things, and there are so many," Stephen said. "But I'd be lying if I said it hasn't been heavy. Still, we know that if we stick together, we'll get through anything." A moment at BravoCon 2025. During a BravoCon 2025 panel, a fan asked Stephen Jr. how his father was holding up. Stephen sat beside his brothers Cole and Jesse, all three presenting an unmistakably united front. He smiled and told the crowd, "My dad is one of the most optimistic people you'll ever meet. Honestly, I think we're more stressed than he is." The room reacted with warm applause, touched by the family's honesty and resilience. Stephen added, "He's built for tough moments. We're just here to love and support him through this time. As a family, we'll get through anything together." Looking forward. Though the McBees are facing emotional challenges, their commitment to each other has grown stronger. Bravo viewers have watched them ride through victories, disappointments, and high-pressure decisions, and this moment is no different. Season 3 of The McBee Dynasty, Real American Cowboys, now carries even deeper meaning. It will capture not only the ranch's day-to-day trials, but also the family's ability to stand firm when life demands resilience. For Stephen Jr., Cole, Jess, and the rest of the McBee clan, this moment isn't about headlines. It's about supporting their dad, standing together, and believing in the path forward. And if their recent public appearances are any indication, the McBee family is not just weathering the storm, they're facing it together with strength, loyalty, and hope. In the days following the court's decision, the McBee ranch felt different. It wasn't that the land had changed. The fields looked the same, the barn stood tall, the cattle moved through their routines, but the energy within the family shifted. Every sunrise carried a mix of gratitude and heaviness. Every evening around the dinner table was quieter, as if each family member was measuring their words, trying to stay strong for the others. Stephen Jr. often stepped outside before dawn, walking across the open land with nothing but the sound of gravel crunching under his boots. Those silent morning walks had become his way of centering himself. The ranch had always been their life force, but now it felt like a reminder of the responsibilities they'd inherited and the resilience they needed to develop quickly. He wasn't just thinking about operations or finances anymore. He was thinking about what it meant to be the oldest brother, the one everyone looked to, the one who was expected to step up when things got hard. "It's different," he admitted privately to close friends. "It's like we all aged 10 years in 1 month." Cole steps up. Cole, usually the jokester of the family, had become more introspective. He had always been the brother who could lighten any mood with one sarcastic comment, the one who broke tension with humor even on the hardest days. But for the first time, Stephen noticed his brother growing quiet more often than not. Cole had taken on more of the logistical tasks around the ranch, managing schedules, keeping inventory, checking on workers, and organizing the long list of to-dos that seemed to grow overnight. He found himself double-checking numbers, rewalking fence lines, and staying up late in the barn with a penlight, finishing maintenance tasks he used to push until morning. One evening, Stephen found him sitting alone on the tailgate of his truck, staring out over the fields as the sun dipped behind the horizon. "You good?" Stephen asked gently. Cole nodded, then shrugged. "Trying to be." He looked down at his hands. Dad always handled stuff like this. He made it look easy. Stephen sat beside him. "We'll figure it out together." And for a moment, they just sat in silence, two brothers trying to absorb a reality neither had ever imagined. Jesse finds his voice. Jesse, the youngest brother, had always felt somewhat shielded by his siblings and his parents. He wasn't inexperienced, but he had been the one with the least pressure on his shoulders. He never expected to find himself suddenly needing to speak up more, contribute more, and stretch himself in ways he wasn't prepared for. At BravoCon, when the question about their dad came up, it was obvious how much he relied on his brother's presence. But afterward, he began to change. He started asking more questions about the ranch, about the books, about the long-term plans for the property. He even surprised his family one afternoon by stepping into the office and saying, "I want to help with the paperwork and the planning. Tell me what to learn." It was a small moment, but it hit Stephen like a wave. Their father's absence was painful, but it was also forcing each of them to grow, to mature, to fill in gaps they had never needed to consider. Their mother, the quiet anchor. Behind the scenes, perhaps the strongest presence of all was their mother. She didn't show her worry openly. Instead, she moved through the house and ranch with remarkable steadiness. She organized meals, made lists, reached out to extended family members, and coordinated communication in ways the boys didn't even notice at first. When Stephen and Cole came home late from working the fields one night, exhausted and sunburned, she had already set dinner on the table and packed lunches for the next morning. "You boys need rest," she said firmly, though her voice softened with every word. "You can't pour from an empty cup." And even though they laughed and playfully protested, they listened. Their mother's strength was a kind they were still trying to understand, consistent, unwavering, full of love, but also full of expectation. The community response. Word spread quickly through their town. Neighbors stopped by the ranch with covered dishes and simple messages of encouragement. Ranch hands worked overtime without being asked. Local businesses quietly extended credit or offered help with supplies. It was the kind of community support the McBees had given to others many times, and now it was coming back to them in waves. One local farmer, a longtime friend of Steve Sr., visited the ranch and told Stephen, "Your dad has helped half the people in this county at one point or another. Don't ever think you're on your own." Stephen remembered standing there, trying not to get emotional at the unexpected kindness. It felt like the town itself was holding them up during a moment they could have easily collapsed under. Stephen's new sense of purpose. As days turned into weeks, Stephen began to feel something shift inside him. He realized that this chapter, as painful as it was also shaping him into a stronger leader. He started planning for the future with a seriousness he hadn't possessed before. He went over their business strategies late at night, updated management systems, and restructured the workflow around the ranch so they could stay balanced even without their father's daily input. He didn't want to replace his dad. No one ever could, but he wanted to honor everything his father had built. One night, as he reviewed documents at the dining table, he looked over at a framed photo of his father on the wall. It was an old picture from years ago, showing Steve Sr. leaning against a fence, wearing a worn-out baseball cap and an easy smile. "Don't worry," Stephen murmured under his breath. "We've got it."